Welcome to today's lecture in pharmacology. Today we'll be discussing antidepressant drugs. Antidepressant drugs. These are drugs we use when somebody has depression. These are drugs we use when somebody has depression. No, depression is one of the common cause of death, even if it's left unnoticed, but contributes to many deaths worldwide. We are going to look at drugs we use when somebody has depression. Drugs we use when somebody has depression. From introduction, these are effective for treating moderate to severe depression associated with psychomotor and physiological changes such as loss of appetite and sleep disturbances. When somebody has depression, others tend to lose appetite and also tend to have insomnia. So this drugs can help to promote appetite and also improve the sleep pattern. So improving sleep pattern is usually the first benefit of this therapy. If somebody is given this antidepressant drug, they're going to have enormous sleep. Usually, ideally, patients with moderate severe depression should be treated with psychological therapy in addition to drug therapy. So despite putting them on medication, those who have depression, they are also treated using they also treated using psychological therapy. So one-to-one therapy can be done on an individual. Psychological therapy is also important in the treatment of depression. So non-pharmacological therapy of depression, non-pharmacological therapy of depression, non-pharmacological therapy of depression, counseling of the patient is very important. Counseling of the patient is very important when the patient has depression. Counseling is vital when somebody has depression. Also, advise bed rest, advise bed rest, avoid isolation of the patient. When I isolate the patient, they'll be in isolation, so they can end up and the conditions in depression will become severe because they're just alone in isolation. So avoid isolating the patient. The patient should be with people, interacting with people, so they can uh, uh, move away from, they can move away from depression. The patient should be occupied with something to do all times and always keep the patient busy. So make sure when somebody is like in depression, keep them busy, give them things to do, keep them busy. Going to go there at mind of that classification of antidepressant drugs. Classification of antidepressant drugs, they're classified into three. We have the tricyclic antidepressant, the third tricyclic antidepressant drugs. I mean, triprin is one of the common drugs we're going to discuss. Also, amphetamide. We're going to discuss all these drugs. So the first category is the tricyclic antidepressant drugs. The third mode of action. These drugs increase the amount of the, the increased amount of serotonin cause the uptake in inhibition. This then mobilize the hyposensitivity receptor site associated with depression. So what they do is they just increase the serotonin in your body, and that is going to normalize the hyposensitivity receptors associated with depression. Normalizing takes up to several weeks without slowing the onset of antidepressant action. So it has slow onset because it takes time for the drugs to start acting. Indication of this drug. Indication is moderate severe depression. So in somebody has moderate severe depression can be given this drug. The other thing is uh, urinalysis. This is excessive urinating. This is urinating even an adult. Bedwetting is what the grant with odd if there's weight on the body on the bed, a bed weight. It can be given this drug. It also helps. Attention deficit disorder, those of attention deficit disorder, they can also be given this drug. Those who have difficulties to pay attention deficit disorder can be given this drug. Also have duodenal and peptic ulcer disease. Duodenal and peptic ulcer disease can be given this drug. Diabetic neuropathy. Those who have diabetic neuropathy can be given this drug. It's the diabetes which affects them, the neurons, so can be given this drug. Side effects: orthostatic hypotension, widening of the QT-R interval, excessive heart failure, blood vision, seizures, urine retention, dry mouth, constipation, decrease in libido, and in decrease in libido, some clients end up having a decrease in libido. So this drug, those are the side effects of this drug. Nursing application: be aware of this. Order the patient should be should have an ECG before. You should take an ECG before beginning the task because they widen the QT interval on the ECG. Notify the physician the QT interval is widened on the ECG. Monitor a suicidal patient course until the drug taken full effect. So within that period, you need to continue monitoring the patient. They assure the patient that drug induce decrease in libido and inhibit ejaculation should resolve when the drug antidepressant is discontinued. So you can also tell the patient that giving this medication, uh, since this medication decreases libido and also inhibits ejaculation. So you can explain to them that once the treatment finishes, those the whole process of ejaculation and libido will come back to normal. Reassure the patient that this anticholinergic reaction may be dismissed or disappear as therapy continues. So, so in this category, we're going to look at amitriptyline. It's a common drug. Amitriptyline, amitriptyline, a common drug. In this category, it comes with a tablet of 25 milligrams each. Doses: depression, depressive illness, bedwetting, urinating on the bed at night. An older man urinating on the bed at night or anytime they sleep, you can give them this drug. Also, neuropathic pain, those of pains of the neurons, can be given this drug. Dose 10 milligrams, increase gradually as necessary to about 30 to 150 daily, divided dose as a single dose. Side effects of this drug is abdominal pain, diarrhea, restlessness, impaired memory, my dialysis starts dryness of the irritation of the pupil, aggression, nursing application as the same ones on the top. We have the monoamide oxidase inhibitors. Monoamide oxidase inhibitors. These are used less frequently than the TARs. So these drugs are more frequent than the TARs and other antidepressant drugs such as the SSRI because of the dangers of the dietary and the drug interaction. And the fact that it is easy to prescribe monoamide oxidase inhibitors when the TARs have been unsuccessful or vice versa. Example is spinoside. Spinoside, we are going to look at this. A mode of action of monoamide oxidase inhibitors is to inhibit the enzyme monoacid oxidase, the enzyme that normally metabolizes the neurotransmitter and the serotonin. This this action makes serotonin available to the receptor, thereby reducing the symptoms of depression. Indication: depression, anxiety, those of anxiety, phobia, anxiety, and also those of neurodermatitis, inflammation of the skin as a result of the neurons. Side effects is hypertensive crisis, which can lead to death. So that's high can cause hypertension. So it's probably not good to give the patient to have hypertension. restlessness, drowsiness, dizziness, dry mouth, constipation, anorexia, urine retention, blood vision. So the side effects, nursing, expression, monitor the patient regularly, adverse reaction to the prescribed the monoamide oxidase inhibitors. Also monitor the patient for drug interactions, monitor the patient for any signs and symptoms, hypertensive crisis such as elevated blood pressure, severe headache, palpitations, neck stiffness, prepare emergency interventions if hypertension crisis occurs. For example, if discontinue monoamide inhibitors immediately. Do not discontinue the the tricyclopromide therapy ablative if necessary. Experts step up the dose overtake to prevent withdrawal reactions such as anxiety, depression, and confusion and hallucinations. Continue monitoring the patient for 5 days, 7 to 10 days after discontinuation of the prescribed monoamide oxidase inhibitors. Record the patient's fluid intake to detect urine retention. Also palpate and process the blood after the patient's urinates. Phenothiazide comes as a tablet of 15 milligrams each. Indication depression. Dose of this drug is 15 milligrams 3 times daily, increased to 4 milligrams 4 times daily after 2 weeks. Children are not recommended to use this drug. Side effects is post hypertension, inhalation dizziness, there's drowsiness, there's insomnia, there's headache, there's dry mouth, there's constipation, so advise lots of fluids and also fiber intake to prevent constipation, there's urine retention, there's also weight gain. The last category we mentioned, we said there are 3 categories. So that category is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Example is fluoxetine hydrochloride, fluoxetine hydrochloride, prozectin hydrochloride. Mode of action, they act by inhibiting the reuptake of the neurotransmitters serotonin by without restoring hyposensitivity receptor site to normalize so that increased neurotransmitter concentration is reached as a therapy effect. Indication major depression disorders. Side effects of seizure, you have restlessness, psychotic episodes, sedation, headache, nervousness, anxiety, diarrhea, and also paresthesia. Face failure of the penicillin tract. Nursing application take seizure precautions such as bending the bed rails therapy to prevent this agent withdrawal, prospecting, and notify the physicians exterior plus, also notify the physician if any adverse reaction or drug interaction. Give the drug with food for bedtime or with food to minimize anticholinergic effects. Prozectin comes with a tablet of 20 milligrams. Indication depression, obsessive compulsive disorders. So there's also bulimia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and 20 milligrams daily for 3 to 4 days. Side effects: vasodilation, post-hypertension, sleep disturbance, confusion, changes in sugar levels, urinary frequency, test disturbances. Those are some of the drugs in antidepressant drugs. So we looked at the 3 categories and also the drugs in each category, the common drugs in each category, to pay attention to the side effects of the drug. We are going to end here today.